In this video, we'll talk about theatrical fly systems. Just a real quick review about stage orientation and how things move. If something is heading into the wing, it's moving off. If it's headed towards center line, it's coming on. Stage right and stage left, our center line and our plaster line. And now what we're going to talk about are things that go up and down, or more specifically, in and out. So things that go in and out are going to be theatrical curtains. Our scrim may fly in or out. Our cyc sometimes flies in and out, right? Our travelers, right? Leg curtains that are able to close towards the middle, or sometimes even a main drape or a grand drape that closes from the sides to close off the view that travels, will be coming on stage or opening off stage. But now we want to talk about a fly system, things that are able to go in and out. The fly tower of the theater is the space that gives us room for that to happen. In order for something to fly up, we need room above that, right? So if I have a piece of fabric, a scrim that is 20 feet high, I will need an additional 20 feet on top of that in order to be able to fly it up and out of view, right? So this fly tower is this big open space. Now, the way a fly system works, it's fairly simple. It's just a counterweight system. We're going to hang equipment or scenery or lights or whatever on this pipe over here, and in order for it to be able to fly out, we have to stack an equal amount of weight over here, and this pipe is connected via cables over to this weight stack, and when these two are in balance, then it's really easy for us to fly this up, right? So that's a counterweight fly system, right? And it's the basis of all fly systems, is that we balance the weight between whatever it is that we want to hang on stage versus just a bunch of steel bricks that weigh a lot that we use to counterbalance it. So the pipe that is on the stage is referred to as a batten. It's not really a pipe, it's called a batten, right? So, or a pipe batten, right? Then we go up to these loft blocks, which are just pulleys up in the grid, which is the steel on the top of the theater. They go over to another giant pulley, and then they hook to this cage known as an arbor, where we're able to stack counterweights. There are then user-friendly ropes, usually large diameter and softer weight ropes, that then you can use to unlock the working line, and then mechanically you can pull down on the stack of counterweights, and the pipe then, the batten, will rise. As you pull down on the rope, it pulls up on this counterweight cage, and then the batten will lower, right? So that's the foundation of a counterweight system in quick review. Next is, let's talk a little bit about ground plans, right? So this is a ground plan for a show, and a ground plan will always include, or should always include, some key information, and we're going to be working in drafting, and looking at drafting, and it's good to get a sense of some of the information that you need to include or look for on a drafting. The first, and maybe one of the more important things, is going to be the scale, right? And I'll do a whole other video in scale, but scale is a way that we can draw in proportion. On this drawing, 1/8 of an inch equals 1 foot. So if I were to take a ruler and measure how many eighths of an inch this line is, and let's just say, for example, it is 8/8 of an inch, or 1 inch, that means it would be 8 feet. 8/8 of an inch at 1 foot scale, 1/8 inch to 1 foot. So that 8/8 of an inch would be 8 feet. So that means that this unit would be 8 feet. It's a way that we can measure and maintain proportion as we do drawings that are not full size, right? So scale is essential. This drawing includes the line set schedule, or where the battens are. So this is a list of where each one of the battens are located in the space, and it looks like they even have information on there about what each batten is doing. Right? So this one might be a wall. It looks like there's a set of cyc legs. I can read cyc right there. There's another set of legs right here. So this is an allocation of the battens overhead. Next is going to be our set design. The set design is going to be the walls, the wagons, the doors, all of the things that we're going to see scenically on the stage. Right? This is the set design. Then masking. In this case, we don't see the borders. They haven't included the borders, but they have included the legs. And those legs are oftentimes represented by these little wavy lines that exist on the left and the right, and they just show us where the masking is going to be. Theater architecture. This hashed line, or this hashed rectangle with these diagonal lines through it, that means that that's a solid brick or masonry or plaster wall. Right? So that's the wall of the theater. So this is the edge of the proscenium. Here is the other edge of the proscenium, and then this is our primary playing space, and this is our apron out here. Next is the title block. The title block shows us the show, the director, the designer, oftentimes the date. Sometimes the scale will be listed down here. Title blocks can be very ornate or very simple, but they give us some key information about what show we're looking at and whose drawings we're looking at, right? So that's the title block. All drawings, all ground plans are going to include the center line, which is located midway in the proscenium opening. It's halfway across the proscenium opening. So if our proscenium opening is 40 feet, this line would be located 20 feet from this wall and 20 feet from this wall. So 20 feet plus 20 feet would be a 40-foot opening. The other line that's essential is going to be the plaster line. The plaster line runs left and right and is located on the upstage edge of the proscenium opening, right? So that's the plaster line. This forms Cartesian coordinates in which we're able to measure. If you're a stage manager, I'm certain that you've engaged in this behavior, to figure out how many feet left or right we are, and then how many feet we are either upstage or downstage of the plaster line. So that's a ground plan. Next, we'll see a section. Again, a section is if we cut the theater in half, right down the center line, and we were to look at it. We can see that in the section drawing, we also have a line set schedule that shows us what battens overhead are carrying what scenic elements, whether that's a leg or a border or a flying piece of scenery or lighting equipment. Section drawing will often include lighting positions, in particular front of house lighting positions, like catwalks or coves, right? So these are the lighting positions that are out over the audience. It will oftentimes include lighting positions over the stage. Theater architecture. This is a fairly common representation. Again, it's the rectangles with the diagonal lines through them represent solid walls. So this is the area above the proscenium opening, right, or the proscenium arch, and then this is the open area that is the proscenium frame. So there's no hatched line there, so we can see through that. And then you can see the stage is drawn down below. The set design is also included in this, so you can see our set design has been cut in half. The seats, where each one of the seats are in the auditorium. If you look down on this title block that's down here, you'll see it's Cat on a Hot Tin Roof at Indiana University. It's the designer section view, and off here it'll be hard to see, but it does show a scale of 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. So if we were to measure a line that's 4 inches long, or 1 inch long, 4/4, then that would be a 4-foot unit in reality, right, in real life. So we use scale to maintain proportion in our drawings. And that is what I have for theater terminology and the anatomy of a theater.